All right, we are going to quickly go through the new vocabulary for this week and then go continue watching Phantom. So we're talking about lighting on stage versus film. I know you know what lighting is, but it is very, very different for a stage versus film. Stage lighting is more challenging than lighting on film. For film, you can often use sunlight. They can use the big reflectors to reflect sunlight towards the actors. You can also use fire on film, which of course we can't use on stage. So these are just some examples of the ways that lighting can be more challenging. In the theater, you've got to take a whole lot of time to set it up and get it the way you want, and then basically record it, almost like you would record a sound cue. And then you play all the light cues throughout the show. And then for film, you set all the lighting up the way you want, and then you just leave it that way while you film. So it's very, very different. So next we have sound. Again, sound design is more challenging on stage. Sound cues have to be carefully orchestrated, and sound effects have to be timed, and they have to be practical, and they have to be matching things that are going on, and you have to have a person behind the sound board physically pressing the buttons, or you have students backstage physically doing practical sound cues. So sound design is a lot more challenging. Whereas on film, you just have a track that's for sound, and you just can put that sound in exactly where you want it. It can be absolutely perfect. All right, and then we also have music, and again, these words you already know, but these words are in reference to on stage versus film. So in music is almost always pre-recorded for film. And often your singers will sing along with it, and then that's recorded as well. And then they lip sync to their own voices. And then on stage, it's often live. Even for plays, sometimes your musicians are playing live. But especially for musicals, it's considered classy to have live music. Okay. And then we also have acting. And of course, you know that acting has to be bigger. Why am I losing my voice? Acting has to be bigger. The facial expressions, your movements, everything has to be bigger on stage. It can be a lot more subtle on film. And I'm sure we've noticed that in comparing these two film and stage versions over the last week. And actors, of course, have to project in the theater. On film, they've got a microphone or they've got a boom mic that's over them, and they could be as really as quiet as they want. That's why you can whisper on film. We don't really whisper much in the theater, unless it's a stage whisper. Did you just say what she had on? Yeah. All right, and then lastly, singing. And singing is a very interesting one. Singing is done live in theater. It's very unusual for someone to lip sync something in theater unless the event calls for like a lip sync battle or something. And then normally it's all mixed in a studio for a film. And like we said before, your actors are normally singing along with themselves. So to finish this one up, singing is normally done in a studio with music for film, and singing is normally done live on stage. Okay, all right, so these are just some things I want you to notice while you're watching the stage and film versions of Phantom of the Opera over the next week, how the lighting and sound and music and acting and singing are very different from the film version to the stage version. All right, that's all for vocab this week. Have a great week. Let's head over to the auditorium and watch some more Phantom.